Speak bold, give no fuck about the haters. It can take freedom from a cold dead hands. We're locked in low for the last days. Cause living on American gangsters, ready to die for this man.
Consistent with my real gender.
Ready to die for this land.
Welcome to the Patriot Punkcast. Tonight, obviously, there's a lot of people in Tennessee dealing with some severe issues. A lot of people dealing with lost homes, lost property, and even lost loved ones. East Tennessee suffered a historic flood. There's dozens of people that are dead, not just in Tennessee, but in other states. Dozens more are still missing. And it's all from flash flooding caused by, and just flooding in general, caused by Hurricane Helene down in Florida, which was kind of surprising. Most people were not expecting a Florida hurricane to cause such devastation up north. And we're going to get into a little bit of what may have caused that and show some of the videos maybe at the end of the show. We ask that you keep those families and all the people who are dealing with that in your thoughts and prayers, along with the 700 National Guard troops that were just deployed to the Middle East. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Nashville District Attorney Glenn Funk and how he was the subject of a Comptroller's investigation, which found all sorts of shady practices, and how the Attorney General is saying that as of right now, he's not going to prosecute. We've also got more than 50 tires that were punctured at a truck stop out in West Tennessee, Madison County, Jackson area. And you've got Moms for Liberty is inviting Josh Pfizer Brown to their meeting on Tuesday. Marsha Blackburn's catching flack, and you can tell it's election season because things are just going absolutely crazy. Before I introduce our plus you'll get to hear from someone who is from Tennessee and who was incarcerated for January 6th and find out from their perspective what really happened. Before I introduce our special guest, do you have dogs? If you do, then it's likely, oh, wait a minute. Come on, Daniel. Yes, if you have dogs, then it is likely that the inside of your carpets or your stairs look like this. Or go ahead and switch it over, Daniel, like this. Well, like that, yes. Now, get the dirt that other cleaners leave behind. And once you finish cleaning your carpets, go ahead and jump over to the mattress where you can get rid of all the nasty stuff that might be living in there. And once you're finished with that, you can even clean your dog. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a Kirby. Okay. Kirby's been around for 110 years and it does absolutely everything. If you're watching this video right here, even the dogs love it. Okay. You can visit midtnkirby.com to schedule a preview today. There's no obligation. We believe in showing you the quality of the product that we're asking you to purchase. Made in America for 110 years, kind of like the Patriot Punk Network. And as you know, we are all entirely self-funded. Without the generous support of viewers like you and people who support the investigative work that we do here, we would not exist. Things are getting very, very tight under Bidenomics. I'm sure everyone can relate to that. And any help you could give would be much appreciated. If you are not in the position to leave a financial tip, as I know most people aren't, although $5 goes a long way when you're as broke as we are, you can also help us out by sharing the stream. But if you want to really, really help us out, instead of sharing the stream, just like hitting the share button or something like that, actually copy the link or make your own post and encourage your friends, your family to check out our website, to check out some of the videos that we've done. An organic post that you create yourself does so much better than just sharing something that someone else did. It gets it in front of a new audience and would be really, really beneficial. Now, joining us tonight, as always, is my good friend and out of the closet anarchist, Daniel Wagner.
Hey, what's going on, Big O?
Oh, not a whole lot. I know you've got dozens of tabs open for tonight because it is going to be a doozy.
Yeah, literally dozens, like 3 dozen or something. It's ridiculous. It's a lot.
Well, tell us who we have joining us tonight.
Well, tonight, if he can make it back in here, we have Mr. Stewart Parks. Now, he was a 2022 congressional candidate. Oh, we can hear him. I don't know if he can hear us. Can't
Yes,
see
sir. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
can hear you.
Yes,
We
sir.
just can't see you.
No
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of connection issues. Forgive me.
So we'll bring him back in once he gets that sorted
Yeah.
out. But
One
yeah,
second.
you mentioned the floods and whatnot and all that that's been going on. And did you see the piece of Interstate I-40 that had just basically collapsed?
I
And
did.
it's no longer operable. Like, holy crap, that's wild.
I had a friend who was actually kayaking in that river but a month and a half ago or something, and they had posted a picture that they took right near that bridge, and it's
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's almost empty.
Missed him by like that much. You know, if he was just there a couple more minutes. Yeah, no, it's pretty wild seeing all the devastation and damage that's gone on already, and I'm just floored at the amount of. I was watching the weather and I seen the wind advisories coming in, so I took the time to button down everything I could, hoping that it wouldn't blow off in the next storm. But fortunately, the area that we're in didn't get it very bad. I think we maxed out at like 30-mile-an-hour winds, so it wasn't that bad. But I know other families were not quite so fortunate.
No, it's the mountains really stopped everything, and I made a joking post on Facebook saying that I'm from Tennessee, where we close down schools because there's storms in Florida. To be fair, it didn't age well, but I still don't think that closed schools in Middle Tennessee, like Nashville or Rutherford County, really should have closed down because the weather conditions weren't that bad. I understand. I'm not saying I wouldn't have made the same choice in the position that the leadership did, and I will take my floggings for that. But I just think that, I remember leaving school because there was 7 inches of snow. They knew it was going to snow, but they just sometimes I feel like now they overreact. They used to not react quick enough. Now they overreact. Just like everything else in government, it's really hard to get them to do anything gung ho.
It's amazing how that works out, isn't it?
Yeah. Government is definitely not the solution. So it looks like
there was times that I went to school, literally goose stepping in the snow. But of course, I grew up in South Dakota, so there was definitely no shortage of inclement weather to have to deal with. So if they called us out for any kind of weather, it probably had to be very, very bad before that happened.
Yep. So I see he's having some technical issues. So instead of
hey, what's up, Stuart? He keeps trying to come in. I believe we can still hear him. Hey, do us a favor, check your settings, your camera settings, Stuart, if you can hear me behind your gear icon. I will try to bring you back in once I see you show up.
Yeah. So
there's that. Anyway, let's continue, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. So I figure instead of starting off with that, let's go ahead and talk about the juicy stuff. Glenn Funk. Okay. Give you a minute to pull that up while I tell everyone a little bit about who Glenn Funk is. Glenn Funk is the district attorney for Nashville. It's the Comptroller's link. And as I'm sure you've seen, there are, I think every news station out there has reported on it. He's been recording people in the office. Now it'll probably bring up a PDF when you click on that. So you'll have to, I don't know how you're going to share that, but
like that.
Yeah, there we go. Well, click the PDF. It's the second one down, 20th Judicial District.
Gotcha. 10-4. There you go.
All right. And if you can zoom that in a little bit, because my eyes, there you go. I think everyone watching probably has worse eyes than me too. There we go. Yeah. Maybe not that
so
big.
demanding, guys. Make sure you hit that like button just out of sympathy for me.
Yes. So Comptroller's investigative report. I occasionally will check this just on a whim. Most of the reports that they generate do not get news attention. And I must have checked it just minutes after it was uploaded because I had the information up on Twitter a full hour and a half, maybe 2 hours before the other news stations picked up on it. So make sure you follow me on Twitter and then you'll get to see breaking news like that. Go ahead and scroll down because this is a long investigation.
And we're going to read the entire thing, so buckle up.
Like
sometimes I get a
little
far ahead.
Yeah. So the first thing just gives you a basic outline telling you that you don't have to read through all that. They conducted an investigation and of all sorts of different records. They've turned the findings over to the governor and the attorney general for reasons like that. You can scroll back up once we get to the pictures. Sorry. What does that say? Backstory? Zoom back in now a little bit.
Background.
Okay, so you go past the background. After he is the Nashville district attorney. All of the people who have been let out on bond and bail, things like that. Now he's not a judge. He's not making those decisions, but it's his policies. I believe some of the things he's more famous for are refusing to prosecute possession of less than a half ounce of marijuana. There's all sorts of criticisms on the way he handles certain violent offenders and repeat offenders. And no one has really put up a fight against him in the sense of politically speaking. So once you scroll down from that, get to the first documented evidence, because there's several findings of this report, including spying on people and campaigning with his email. Can you zoom that in? I can't read that from here. I'm going to have to.
It says excerpt of audio and video footage recovered investigators of a criminal defense attorney reviewing evidence in a pending criminal case.
Oh, so yeah, that right there sounds wonderful. Hey, we got video with Mr. Parks.
All right, you want to just finish this segment? We can
bring him in. We'll let him comment on this, and we'll just introduce him backwards. So
we're
gonna throw you right in here.
Retroactive introductions. I like it. I love it. Okay.
So this right here is prima facie. That is a defense attorney working. What does it say they're working on?
A criminal defense attorney reviewing evidence in a pending criminal case.
So they're spying on defense attorneys as they're reviewing evidence. Now the picture right there doesn't have a defendant in there. So maybe he wasn't spying on.
Sorry. It's just clicking with me. So this picture basically is showing where they're typically not supposed to be spying on these guys. I guess they're supposed to be private rooms and they're being watched. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, most people would have an expectation of privacy if they enter a room alone. They're a defense attorney reviewing evidence. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on my phone so that I can actually.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you want to read.
Well, there's like I said, there's a lot here. So,
Stewart, the only thing you missed is that we're gonna go through and read the entire thing word by word, the whole 24-page document today.
Okay.
So I hope you got drinks and.
No.
Okay.
Stop saying that. That's terrible. It is literally terrible. Stop that. Okay. So former office employees informed investigators that it was common practice to use the office equipment and audio and video record criminal defense attorneys in the viewing room without disclosure, and for office personnel to subsequently provide the captured audio and video to the criminal defense attorneys to office staff handling the criminal case, trying to give maybe they said something, maybe they focused on a piece of evidence more, maybe they panicked and use that against these people. You would assume as a criminal defendant that as a criminal defense attorney, you would have some privacy when you're reviewing certain evidence. Investigators located an internal office-wide email explaining to members of the district attorney's office the process for obtaining a copy of the recordings of the criminal defense attorneys that visit the office. Now, I feel like this came up not terribly long ago when Phil Williams submitted an open record request for audio recordings. I think it was Glenn Funk's office that responded with a redacted piece of paper. This would have been about a year ago because I was dealing with Coffee County for open records. And it was like a piece of paper and every word on it was blacked out, redacted, but he still provided it. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that was transcripts of an audio recording, but I could be wrong. Please, in the comments, fact check me on that. Other allegations include having video cameras. If you scroll down, there's a picture of the lobby, view of the audio capable recording device in the elevator lobby on the 4th floor of the building. The area is frequented by other building tenants and their visitors. the view of the audio capable recording devices in a hallway on the third floor of the building, which is also frequented by other building tenants and their visitors who were unaware that their conversations were recorded. So, that's a private building in a private hallway. I would imagine there's an expectation of privacy in those places. Now, public lobby, maybe not, but I'm pretty sure this is going to violate some wiretapping rules. And then the audio capable equipment in the hallway captured an individual who was not employed by the DA's office giving personal identifying information over their cell phone. Maybe they're giving the credit card number or something like that to their wife. So now that we've got the backstory, I guess, out of the way, and there's a few other things, sending campaign emails, I encourage you to read the report because, like Daniel said, it's like 28 pages long. We're not going to read through all of it. And there's including campaign donations from employees that got new positions. Shady. So now that we've gone through the report, Stewart, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Without going into your whole story, you tell people real quick who you are and kind of what you're famous for.
Yes, sir. Well, my name's Stewart Parks. I'm born and raised in Nashville. I'm a licensed real estate broker for the state of Tennessee. I've lived in Nashville pretty much my whole life, and I attended a peaceful event on January 6th, and little did I know when I attended that event it would change my life forever. And so a couple months later, on June 3rd, 2021, the same year, the FBI raided my house. And like I said, my life changed forever. And I guess that's my claim to fame.
And so we're going to get into your story here in just a little bit. But seeing that Comptroller's investigation, obviously, you're familiar with Nashville. Are you surprised that you've got a district attorney, a prosecutor, who's maybe doing things that are at the least unethical and at the best illegal, or at the worst illegal and at the best unethical?
Well, that's a great question. I've seen firsthand, what the DC swamp is doing and just arresting innocent people. We would there, and we could talk more about it and deep into this interview, but I had picked up a metal detector wand, just being silly with it, and put it back in the general area. And we've asked the government for the footage, and they would never release it. And we know the Capitol is, guarded with security cameras every square inch. And we know the government has the footage, but they would never, I still to this day have not seen that footage. So I know that, government offices can hide and prevent things, not give the defendant their, due process in requesting evidence that would clear me. So that's just a personal thing that I've observed in DC. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's instances in local offices that, are doing misconduct.
Tell us a little bit, how many times did you ever meet with the prosecutor? Did they interrogate you like they do in the Law and Order movies or anything like that? Like, what was that experience like after the raid? And what was your dealings with the lawyers in it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I'll start from the beginning with my raid on June 3rd of 2021. I was raided at 5:53 in the morning, completely unaware. There was no phone call saying, "Hey, we're coming. Be ready. We would like to speak with you, ask you any questions." None of that. Raided my house, put me in handcuffs, dragged me to an unmarked vehicle, along with police officers, made a public display of, what they wanted to do to me and intimidate the neighbors and so forth. Now, the reason why I bring that up is shortly afterwards in Columbia, this took place in Columbia, Tennessee. They took me to an unmarked brick building right there near CVS, if you're familiar with I think that's I'm drawing the blank at the Old Nashville Highway or Carmack is the street. But anyway, and they handcuffed me, and the FBI, without even informing me of my right to a lawyer, opened the file, sits me down at a desk and start to ask me questions about January 6th. Now, thank God I had some sort of legal knowledge at the time to ask for an attorney. So once I did that, they closed the file, re-handcuffed me, put me back in the FBI vehicle, and took me to jail. And then to fast forward, leading up to my trial, there was an instance where, so my trial was on May 1st of 2023. In December 2022, month beforehand, they did what's called a reverse proffer. Now, what that means is basically it's a secret meeting. Basically, the defendant, his attorney, the prosecutor, their attorney, and they basically was trying to really motivate me into pleading guilty, because they were like, Stewart, they use this phrase such as, Stewart, it's the holidays, come on, you plead guilty, we got all this footage. And they basically just show the defendant all the evidence they have against him, and they basically are trying to work something out of court or whatever have you. And I insisted I did not commit a crime on January 6th. So we just ended that meeting with the awareness that Stewart Parks will go to trial to fight for his, right, fight for my innocence. And unfortunately, I didn't win and get the results I wanted. So that's some things that I remember. And another thing, I didn't have like interrogation like you would see in crime documentaries, because the FBI felt like they had such strong evidence with video cameras inside the Capitol building, and they had they had subpoenaed my social media company for the footage that I took on January 6th, and the social media company just willingly, I mean, I felt like my privacy was invaded, just willingly gave it all up. So that's kind of the experience I had.
Well, so for those who don't know, like the discovery process, you think that they should have to give you evidence that exonerates you. Unfortunately, if they're not using that, if that prosecutor that's assigned to that case is not using that evidence and doesn't have it in their possession, then they don't have to provide it to you in discovery, to the best of my knowledge, because it's not going to be evidence used against you. They only have to provide to you the evidence that's been collected in your case. So that puts the burden on people like you to get your attorney to go up against the federal government to get all the security cameras, or and God forbid they actually know which one that they want to keep you away from, because then that'll just disappear.
Right.
But we've seen Fox News, we've seen Steve Baker with the Pragmatic Constitutionalists on the Blaze. He's covered a couple of my stories. I messaged him routinely on X, and he's still fighting to get some of that footage. So is this that's the charging documents. So you mentioned that you picked up a metal detector, or like a little wand. Can you scroll down to the picture of that, Daniel, on that thing?
So this is 15 pages that we will also be reading all the way through.
Hey, Daniel, if you are going for comedic relief, don't quit your day job. Any of your day jobs.
Stewart laughed. I laughed. I think that's a 2 out of 3 win for me. I'll take it.
Yeah, I will say this, to add more complication and frustration to all this. When the government, when we approach the government about, video evidence with January 6th, they just dump you with thousands and thousands of hours, and we still haven't been able to comb through all of it. So it's just like a massive overload. And I think this was the first time that I'm aware of a strategy that the government used, is that they just mass dump you with all this evidence that you got to sit and read and, point to the crowd. Okay, this is Stewart Parks. He was in this room at this time. So that was another.
One of the things that I've seen is that they will do that to anyone who doesn't have the money to do it back. And if you can't pay your attorney $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to bury someone in paperwork, then they know that you can't pay your attorney $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 to unbury yourself from paperwork. And that is a favorite strategy of our government warlords.
It's a damn shame they go after somebody for the little tiniest thing that they could possibly get their hands on.
Well,
and yet, they've even got a name for it called sedition hunters on Twitter. You can look up hashtag sedition hunters. They've got entire websites dedicated to spotting this stuff. And it's ridiculous that we don't see this very same effort coming from the right in the direction of the left in general to actually hold accountable the people that were involved in arguably much worse riots than this ever could have been.
Mhm.
Yeah, and for so that people understand that he took a metal detector, it's not one of those that you walk through. He didn't like pick it up and try to sneak it onto the bus, although that would be entertaining. And if you go to the right SEC football game, you're likely to see someone try. But it was you can kind of see it in this picture here. It's one of those like wands that they just wave you down with. Now, how far it looks like in this, and I watched a video on some like CNN thing in preparation for this. How far, when you picked that up, did you carry it? Because the clip was only like 2.5, 3 seconds of you picking it up. It didn't show where you went.
Yeah, so in the court documents, and the judge alleged that I had it for about 10 minutes, which I think is accurate guesstimate. And again, so you have that footage right there. I'm picking it up to be silly with it, and it looks like I'm going out the door. Well, that moment, we're just free. The police are letting us just walk around, come in and out as we please. So I'll walk out, and then I make a U-turn, go back in the building. So I stayed in the general vicinity with that. It was like $125 Garrett metal detector wand, and I'm just being silly with it and so forth. And then this is the end of our, I guess, tenure in the building, because around this time the National Guard enters and they make it clear that we need to vacate the building, which I peacefully and willingly comply with. And by the time I do it, I say, "Oh no, I got this metal detector in my hand. I can't put it in that exact table." So I put it right outside the door at the base of a column, and the government would not release that footage, the video footage. However, we had the Capitol Hill Police testify at my trial that nothing was stolen. We had strong evidence, even footage of me walking down the steps to leave the Capitol, and I had nothing on me. And the judge said that I was guilty of asportation, which means the carrying away. I deprived the Capitol Hill Police of 10 minutes of use of that wand, and that justified a guilty verdict for theft.
And I don't even want to say that because I don't agree with that. That's not theft. Now, if they wanted to say disorderly conduct, and maybe, and then what do you think? I'm just curious. Assuming that they had been reasonable and said, "Listen, you weren't supposed to be in here." What do you think a reasonable punishment would have been for people who didn't commit acts of violence?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So to first start off with the theft, what you're seeing, there's a lot of people angry about that, including myself, because you have people like at a shop. It's similar to you pick up a fruit at a grocery store, put it in the shopping cart, and then change your mind, and then you want to put it back, or someone's at a doctor's
You leave
office.
it by the register, yeah.
Yeah. And so, that's what this was. And we had even the Capitol Hill Police testified nothing was stolen. The inventory list that we were not missing any Garrett metal detector wand from January 6th. And even what's more mind blowing is in every case that I know of, when theft occurs, you pay restitution to the victims. In my case, the judge said that no restitution would be paid because the government failed to show that the wand was missing. So he had to side with asportation, which means I deprived Capitol Hill Police 10 minutes of its use, which is mind blowing, and people were just upset over it. But as far as to answer your question, we didn't commit a crime. The Capitol Police were with us the whole entire time inside the building. They never once was afraid or said, "Get out, you're breaking the law, we're going to arrest you." Nothing. So for the nonviolent people, we shouldn't have been arrested. We shouldn't have been in any type of criminal punishment for January 6th. We were peacefully present. So that's my response to your question, which is a great question.
Yeah, no, so I was there on January 6th. The FBI showed up outside my house on January 20th, the day Biden was inaugurated. And I went to record everything. Originally, I'd planned a live stream. Obviously, most people couldn't live stream because the towers were so bogged down.
Yeah.
And I uploaded it immediately. Like we got off the bus, I went home, had some issues putting it on the computer, but within an hour and a half of being off the bus, I started a live stream of all of my footage in order. And the FBI, when they came to visit me, I told them, hey, all the footage I have is on the internet. I'm a journalist. Please don't take my phone. They said, we have other ways, kind of acted a little bit, cloak and daggery. And I will admit, and I've caught some flack for this, but I had a family friend was in a law enforcement agency and was like us, let's say, in support of January 6th, and thought that there was nefarious, maybe secret agents or spies or whoever you want to call it, people in there, agitators. And in my footage, I found a guy wearing a Senate security jacket. We traced the logo to the Senate contractor, had a gas mask on and a backpack, and was coming like from behind the police barricade into the crowd. So I sent the screenshot of that to him and asked if he could get it to someone that he trusted. Some people have tried to accuse me of helping the FBI. No, but I was really trying to help the people that were wrongfully accused, because I did see, did you see people instigating and starting stuff while you were out there?
Well, this is a good topic you're bringing up, because I think just recently this week I did a media interview, and it had just come out where the FBI is just being shady, and that they're not wanting to release the number of paid informants that were there at January 6th, but they acknowledged that their presence were there. So we need to know that, because we need to know, MAGA, the MAGA movement, MAGA people, whatever you want to describe us, we're nonviolent. We love our country. We don't envision ourselves hitting, damaging monuments and damaging buildings and so forth. We love our nation's capital. We were peacefully present. So when you have actors taking an aggressive stance toward the building, we want to know who they are. Obviously, people, it's politics. They get caught up in emotions and so forth. And but look at me and you. We're peacefully present. We're respectable citizens. Like, you can't just, FBI shouldn't just come and start questioning you and harassing you over, media. You have a right of free speech. So I have a lot of questions about, FBI involvement, government involvement on January 6th, trying to make us look bad, because I believe they were there.
I believe that there were definitely some issues. What were you saying, Daniel?
Man, I'm just jealous because both of you got a visit from the FBI and I did not. I was also there, and apparently I wasn't belligerent enough or chaotic enough, or I didn't say the wrong words. I must have been pretty well behaved.
Well,
you don't want an FBI visit. It's the worst.
No,
okay.
No, I don't.
I
don't want it. It doesn't make me any less jealous, though.
Yeah.
I don't get to tell that war story. Like, hey, about that time I got visited by the FBI. No, that just never happened.
Well, but you do get to talk about, maybe Eddie can help you arrange a visit.
Yeah, let's come on. Let's see
but go now that we've got your story, we're going to kind of touch back on Glenn Funk again. And
that sounds terrible.
I know. Do you think that recording the hallways and elevators of a building that you share with other tenants is legal or lawful?
Well, good. Sorry.
Oh, I'll just say that as far as I remember, Tennessee's a one-party consent state, so there's really.
But that means you have to be a party to the conversation. I still can't leave a bug in a room. Believe me, if I could leave a bug in some of the government offices, I'm sure I could get all sorts of gold.
Just out of curiosity, do you happen to know if there was like any kind of signage that said, hey, you're being recorded on the premises, or anything that's like, maybe it was an obvious camera where, any reasonable person would look at it and say, yeah, I can see a camera there? Or were these like intentionally hidden cameras with what's the
I don't know if they were intentionally hidden cameras, but from reading the report, it says that nobody was notified. And as a tenant of a building, I don't think you have the right to put it in a camera in the common areas. Now, he may have gotten his landlord's permission, but at that point, the tenants would need to know who could be recording their conversations, and certain areas of that are going to be restricted to private.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. Are you saying this is like a building that he was renting a suite from, and he put his own cameras in the lobby, or
Yes. Well, the district attorney's office rents the building.
the entire building? Okay.
Well, parts of the building. No, parts of the building. A lot of the building, I should imagine. But the other thing that you saw in here, maybe you have some personal experience because you ran for office, was the giving promotions to people who wrote a check. When you announced that you were running, did you have any, greasy looking slime balls come up to you and try to, court favors from you?
I mean, we had all, I was approached by large amounts, people just from all walks of life, so to speak. You gotta be smart with a lot of this stuff, because there are, I guess, undercover opposition and so forth. People trying to sabotage your campaign and all this stuff. But as far as being knowingly aware of somebody, undercover approaching me, I'm not aware of anything like that.
So if I'm getting this straight, your trial was in 2023?
So let me think real quick. Correct. May 1st of 2023. Yes, sir.
So you ran for 5th District Congress. You tried to run for Congress while you were awaiting trial?
Yes, sir. While I was on pretrial relief. Now there were, you brought up a great point in that, during the prosecution, their presentation on why I should be, stuck with these charges, they did display speeches that I made while I was running for Congress, and it just infuriated the judge, and the judge used it against me to harshen my sentence, in that he said that I fabricated a lie when I told the truth about January 6th and what happened. They were really furious that I took the stand and that I was making public speeches, sharing with the public what actually happened on January 6th. And it was just, they used that to harshen my sentence.
Wow. Well, I have to say, you, for doing that, though this is a few years late, you were awarded this week's C.A. Jones Award. Okay. It's because that takes balls. And
thank you.
That is big. So we're going to go ahead and drop Facebook and YouTube. We kind of got off to a rough start, but now I think we're in the flow of things. And hold on here. I guess I got to.
I can do this while you continue the show.
Yeah, every time